Should have had the both of you locked away. Hey, give cause a fight.
Let's go.
So the story kicks off with a guy named Billy Russotti, who's all excited to meet his big boss, a powerful mafia leader named Don Gano Cesare. But once Billy shows up, things go south fast. A small misunderstanding turns into a full-blown shouting match. It almost gets violent, but Billy's close buddy Nicky Donatelli steps in and cools things off before it explodes. Billy and Nicky decide to leave while Don Cesare stays at his dinner party with his goons. Soon after that, Frank Castle, the infamous vigilante known as the Punisher, sneaks into the mansion.
Should have had the both of you locked away. Hey, give cause a fight.
Let's go.
Two cops are outside when they hear gunshots. One of them, Officer Saffioti, heads inside to check it out and comes face to face with Frank. But instead of arresting him, Saffioti is so stunned to see the Frank Castle that he actually lets him go. He even gives him his car keys to help him escape quicker. To cover up what he did, Saffioti punches himself in the nose, makes it bleed, and tells everyone Frank attacked him. Meanwhile, back at Billy's hideout, 3 young gang members show up. They're drug runners Billy trusts. But Billy knows something's off. He's sure Frank is already inside. Turns out he's right. Frank silently takes out the outside guard and starts killing Billy's men one by one. Things get wild inside. In the chaos, Frank ends up accidentally killing Nicky, who turns out to be an undercover FBI agent. Then Frank and Billy face off in a brutal shootout. Billy ends up falling into a glass-crushing machine, completely wrecking his face. Somehow he survives, but he's badly messed up. With everyone else dead, Frank leaves. The next day, Nicky's funeral takes place. His FBI partner, Paul Budiansky, is beyond furious. He blames their boss, Agent Miller, for sending Nicky on a dangerous mission involving Billy and his gang. But Miller brushes it off, saying no one expected Frank Castle to show up and turn the place into a war zone. Paul then meets Nicky's grieving wife, Angela, and promises her that he'll track down Frank and make him pay. From afar, Frank watches the funeral. He also visits the graves of his own family nearby, still haunted by what happened to them. The pain of losing them is what drives him to keep doing what he does. Later, Paul shows up at the police station to question why Frank hasn't been caught in all these years. Frank's been on a 4-year killing spree, and nobody's managed to stop him. The conversation gets heated until Saffioti suggests that Paul talk to another cop, Martin Soap, who's been following Frank's movements for a while. Martin explains that Frank used to be in the special forces, but after the mob killed his wife and kids, he went rogue. Now, he's out there dishing out his own kind of justice because he thinks the system fails to punish the worst people. Feeling guilty, Frank confides in his tech guy and buddy, Microchip. He tells him he didn't mean to kill Nicky and feels awful knowing the guy had a family. Micro tries to comfort Frank, but Frank is eaten up with guilt and tells him to leave. Elsewhere, Billy finds out Nicky was actually working with the FBI and had stolen all their money. One of Billy's guys, Pitsy, is convinced the money is hidden at Nicky's home. Then a doctor comes in to check on Billy's face, but when he removes the bandages, he's so shocked by the damage that he can't hide his horror. Billy looks absolutely terrifying, so much that one of his own men, Ink, throws up. Pitsy drags Ink out and yells at him for being disrespectful. When they return, they find Billy's killed the doctor in a fit of rage. Now totally unhinged, Billy lays out his plan: get the money back and hunt down Frank Castle. He's dead serious and wants everyone on board. Meanwhile, Billy's younger brother, Jim, is locked up in a psych ward. Jim's a full-blown psycho who has to be tied down to stop him from hurting anyone. A nurse there's treating him like garbage, yelling and pushing him around. But then Billy and his crew break in and bust him out. When Jim sees Billy's messed up face, he's not scared. He actually thinks it looks awesome. Right after escaping,
You look fantastic, brother.
Fatso's mine.
Lead everybody out the front door.
Sure thing, Billy.
Ah!
Later, the crew crashes at a motel. Billy sees himself in the mirror and totally breaks down. He's crushed by how he looks now. Jim, trying to cheer him up, smashes all the mirrors in the room and tells him they're going to find Frank and make him pay. That night, Frank shows up at Nikki's place to talk to Angela. He's carrying a huge wad of cash, hoping it'll help her out after what happened. But she's still full of anger and grief. She pulls a gun on him and tells him to leave. In the meantime, Billy and his gang meet with a big-time drug dealer named Christu. Things get tense when one of Krista's guys makes fun of Billy's face, and Billy immediately kills him. The whole situation almost turns into a shootout, but Krista manages to calm things down. In the end, they agree to move forward with their business deal at the port the next day. After that, Frank meets up with Microchip again. He tells him he's thinking of quitting and leaving town for good. But Micro tells him that Billy is still alive, and worse, he's targeting Nikki's wife and daughter. Hearing that, Frank knows he can't walk away. He decides he's not done yet. Frank teams up with Microchip and a guy named Carlos to put a plan together. Carlos gives them key info on Billy's crew, including a dangerous criminal named McGinty, who's planning something big with his gang. While all that was going down, Paul finally agreed to team up with Martin so they could go after Frank Castle together. That night, Frank tracked down McGinty and his crew while they were in the middle of committing some serious crimes.
And his boys are planning to hit a convenience store on 45th and 2nd.
Right as Frank was wrapping things up, Paul and Martin showed up. They spotted him and immediately took off after him.
Stay out of my way.
Frank begged him to let him go, warning that Billy and his gang were headed to Nikki's home to hurt his family. But Paul didn't budge and kept him restrained. At the same time, Billy and his guys barged into Angela's house and grabbed both her and her daughter. He demanded to know where Nikki had hidden the money. Angela, scared and confused, said she didn't have a clue. While she tried to explain, Jim went wild, smashing things, making everything worse. The ruckus caught the attention of two nearby patrol cops.
Damn it. Cops. Evening, officers.
Is everything okay in there?
No. Everything is not okay.
Desperate to protect her child, Angela told Billy about a safe in the bedroom and gave him the code. Not far away, Paul arrived outside with Martin. He told Martin to keep watch over Frank, who was still locked up in the car. Frank, frustrated, tried to convince Martin to cut him loose, saying Martin had been quietly helping him for a while. Inside, Billy's goons, Ink and Pitsy, got ready for Paul's entrance and warned him not to do anything stupid or they'd hurt Angela and the kid.
My husband has a safe upstairs in the bedroom.
When Billy sent Ink upstairs to check the noise, Frank broke in, fought him off, and took him down.
Castle! Stay right where you fucking are!
Frank took Angela and her daughter to a safe house, trying to comfort the little girl by giving her some old toys that once belonged to his own daughter. Later, Agent Miller brought Billy and Jim to the FBI office and gave them a dirty deal, freedom in return for helping capture Christo and his gang. The brothers agreed. They went to the docks and acted like they were setting up a drug deal. FBI agents were ready and waiting. Thanks to Billy and Jim, Christo and his crew were busted. As promised, the brothers walked free. But Miller wasn't done. He even handed over intel about Microchip, Frank's right-hand man. Meanwhile, Carlos told Frank that Micro couldn't meet up because his mom was sick. Frank asked Carlos to stay with Angela and the kid while he went to check on Micro. Frank rushed back, only to find Carlos nearly dead. Carlos revealed Jim had shown up and kidnapped Angela and her daughter. Turns out Billy and Jim had cooked up a sick plan. They were going to use Microchip and the others as bait to draw Frank in. Around that time, Paul met up with Frank and told him about Billy and Jim getting released. Paul knew the law wouldn't stop them, so he told Frank to handle things his way. Frank agreed, but said Paul would have to give up being an agent if he wanted to help. Paul seemed ready to make that sacrifice. Later, Billy and Jim headed to a bar to find more guys for their fight against Frank. Their new hideout was now guarded by armed men. Paul, on the other hand, approached Christo's father, Tibu. He told him how Billy was behind Christo's arrest and proposed teaming up. Tibu, burning for revenge, quickly agreed. That night, Tibu and a few of his men rolled up to Billy's place, pretending to be hired guns ready to help take down the Punisher. Angela, her daughter, and Microchip were all locked in a tiny room as prisoners. Tibu gave the signal, and his men opened fire.
Won't be replacing that son of yours.
Jim broke away and ran into the room where the hostages were. Inside, Billy held a gun to Microchip, and Jim threatened Angela and her daughter. Frank was forced into a heartbreaking choice: save his friend or save the woman and child. He picked Angela and her daughter.
It's a kid.
3.
After the fight, Frank helped Angela and her daughter get out. With sirens approaching, Paul told Frank he needed to vanish quickly. Angela, no longer holding any anger, gave Frank a hug and said she forgave him. As Frank and Martin left, Martin tried to convince him to quit the whole vigilante life. He said maybe once all the bad guys were gone, Frank could finally rest. But moments later, a mugger tried to rob them. Before the guy could even make a move, Frank stepped in and took him out in classic Punisher fashion, making it clear his war was far from over. Thanks for sticking around. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more recaps. Catch you next time.